Culture of Burma. Published December the 8th, 2017. Special characters are denoted as follows. And. Left and right parentheses. The culture of Myanmar, also known as Burma, has been heavily influenced by Buddhism and the Mon people. Burmese culture has also been influenced by its neighbors India and China. Citation needed. In more recent times, British colonial rule and westernization have influenced aspects of Burmese culture, including language and education. Part 1. Arts. Historically, Burmese art was based on Buddhist or Hindu cosmology and myths. There are several regional styles of Buddha images, each with certain distinctive characteristics. For example, the Mandalay style, which developed in the late 1800s, consists of an oval-shaped Buddha with realistic features, including naturally curved eyebrows, smaller but still prominent ears, and a draping robe. There are 10 traditional arts, called Pansei Myo, the motor yacht, listed as follows. 1. Blacksmith, the motor yacht. BE. 1. Wood carving, the motor yacht. Barber. 1. Goldsmith, the motor yacht. Bardine. 1. Stucco relief, the motor yacht. Pandor. 1. Masonry, the motor yacht. Payan. 1. Stone carving, the motor yacht. Pantamore. 1. Turnery, the motor yacht. Panbat. 1. Painting, the motor yacht. Baggy. 1. Lacquerware, the motor yacht. Panyan. 1. Bronze casting, the motor yacht. Badin. In addition to the traditional arts are silk weaving, pottery, tapestry making, gemstone engraving, and gold leaf making. Temple architecture is typically of brick and stucco, and pagodas are often covered with layers of gold leaf while monasteries tend to be built of wood. Although monasteries in cities are more likely to be built of modern materials. A very common roofing style in Burmese architecture is called Pyatat, the motor yacht, which is a multi-tiered inspired roof. Part 1. Arts. Chapter 1. Literature. Burmese literature has been greatly influenced by Buddhism, notably the Yataka tales, since Orthodox Buddhism prohibited fiction. Citation needed. Many historical works are non-fiction. However, British colonization introduced many genres of fiction, which have become extremely popular today. Poetry features prominently, and there are several forms of poetry unique to Burmese literature. By 1976, only 411 titles were published annually, compared to 1882, when 445 titles were published. Various factors, especially the lengthened bureaucratic process to obtain printing permits, censorship, and increasing economic hardship of consumers because of the socialist economic schemes, contributed to the decline of Burmese literary output. Popular novels have similar themes to Western novels, often involving adventure, espionage, detective work, and romance. Many writers also translate Western novels, especially those of Arthur Haley and Harold Robbins. The flourishing translation sector is the result of the Burmese government, which did not sign the Universal Copyright Convention Agreement, which would have forced Burmese writers to pay royalties to the original writers. Short stories, often published in magazines, also enjoy tremendous popularity. They often deal with everyday life and have political messages, such as subtle criticisms of the capitalist system. Partly because, unlike novels, Short stories are not censored by the Press Scrutiny Board. Poetry is also a popular genre today, as it was during the monarchical times, but unlike novels and other works, which use literary Burmese, poetry uses vernacular rather than literary Burmese. This reform movement is led by left-leaning writers who believe lay means language. The vernacular and colloquial form of Burmese ought to be used instead of formal Burmese in literature. One of the greatest female writers of the post-colonial period is Journal Kai or Mamale. Kinmai Ochit was another important writer, who wrote, among her works, The 13-Carat Diamond, 1955, which was translated into many languages. The journalist Luduyuhula was the author of numerous volumes of ethnic minority folklore, novels about inmates in New-era jails, and biographies of people working in different occupations. The Prime Minister Unu himself wrote several politically oriented plays and novels. Other prolific writers of the post-colonial era include Thine P. Mind and his The Ocean Traveller and The Pearl Queen, considered a Burmese classic. Maya Antant, known for his translations of Western classics like War and Peace. Thordaswind Mayatidun, distinguished women writers, who have also been an ever-present force in Burmese literary history, include Kiai, Kinananyu, and San Sanwef. Burmese historians, Barshin, Thantun, Thant Myintyu, Hatinon, Sao Samung, Myoma Myint Kaiu, and San Sipo were famous in Burma. Part 1, Arts. Chapter 2, Dance. Dance in Burma can be divided into dramatic, folk and village, and nat dances, each having distinct characteristics. Although Burmese dance has been influenced by the dance traditions of its neighbors, in particular Thailand, Yodaya aka, it retains unique qualities that distinguish it from other regional styles, including angular, fast-paced and energetic movements and emphasis on pose, not movement. Part 1, Arts. Chapter 3, Music. Various types of Burmese music use an array of traditional musical instruments, assembled in an orchestra known as Ain Wain, which the Burmese Singsaya Kai or Kai or Naing has made more widely known in the West. Traditional folk music is atypical in Southeast Asian music, as it is characterized by sudden shifts in rhythm and melody as well as change in texture and timbre. An instrument unique to Burma is the Songok, an arched harp that can be traced to pre-Hittite times. Classical traditions of Burmese music are found in the Mahajita, an extensive collection of classical songs, and are typically divided into indoor and outdoor ensembles. These songs tend to be about various legends in Pali and subsequently in Burmese intermingled with Pali, related to religion or the power and glory of monarchs, and then the natural beauty of the land, forests and the seasons, eventually feminine beauty, love, passion and longing, in addition to folk music sung in the paddy fields. Pop music, both adopted and homegrown, however, dominates the music of Burma today. Part 2, Customs. The traditional Burmese greeting is Mingalabat, the motor yacht. From Pali /Uwani 45 gal and roughly translated as auspiciousness to you. This is, however, a comparatively recent form of greeting, originating in the 1960s as a replacement in schools for the English language greeting, good morning/afternoon, teacher, in the newly nationalized missionary schools. Greetings such as, have you eaten? The motor yacht. Atamin sa pai bai la, and how are you? The motor yacht. Nakorn la are still common. Hello is also a popular greeting nowadays, whereas it used to be confined to answering the phone. Part 2, Customs. Chapter 1, Clothing. The typical garment of the Burmese is the Indian lungi or longi, a sarong worn by both men and women. This replaced the traditional paso for men and tamine for women by the 20th century. For business and formal occasions, Burma men wear a Manchu Chinese jacket, the motor yacht, over an English collar shirt, sometimes donning a turban called gawnborn, while Burma women wear a blouse buttoned at the front, called yinzi, the motor yacht, or to the side, called yinbun, the motor yacht, and a shawl. In urban areas, skirts and pants are becoming more common, particularly among the young. During the British colonial era, Burmese nationalists associated traditional clothing, in particular yolongi, the motor yacht, a type of longi from the Yor region, and pinitaikpon, the motor yacht, a fawn-coloured colourless jacket, with anti-colonialism and nationalist sentiment, because of a clampdown in the 1920s over increasing dissent. Wearing traditional clothing was seen as a mode of passive resistance among the Burmese. British rule nonetheless influenced hair fashion and clothing. Cropped short hair, called boki, the motor yacht, replaced long hair as the norm among Burmese men. Similarly, women began wearing hairstyles like armork, the motor yacht, consisting of crested bangs curled at the top, with the traditional hair bun, the motor yacht. The female sarong, tamine, became shorter, no longer extending to the feet, but to the ankles, and the length of the sarong's top decreased to reveal more waistline. This period also saw the introduction of a sheer muslin blouse for women, revealing a corset-like lace bodice called zaboli, the motor yacht. Part 2. Customs. Chapter 2. Speech. The Burmese language is very age-oriented. The use of honorifics before personal names is the norm, and it is considered rude to call a person just by their name without the honorific unless they are known from childhood or youth, or in the case of a younger underling. Young males are addressed as mon or ko, lit, brother, and older or senior men as you, lit, uncle. Likewise, young females are addressed as ma, lit, sister, and older or senior women as dor, lit, aunt. Regardless of their marital status, auntie or uncle is commonly used as well today. The first and second person pronouns vary depending on whom one is speaking to and are age-dependent. Elders are spoken to in a more respectful manner, and a special vocabulary exists for speaking to Buddhist monks. Part 2. Customs. Chapter 3. Manners. Burmese society operates on Anna, the motor yacht, a characteristic or feeling that has no English equivalent. It is characterized by a hesitation, reluctance or avoidance to perform an action based on the fear that it will offend someone or cause someone to lose face, or become embarrassed. Also, there is the concept of upon the motor yacht, from Sanskrit bhaga, which translates to power. It is used as an explanation for the varying degrees of ethnic, socio-economic, and gender differences between people in a society. Upon refers to the cumulative result of past deeds, an idea that power or social position comes from merit earned in previous lives. This idea is used to justify the prevalent view that women are lesser than men, who are considered to have more upon. Age is still considered synonymous with experience and wisdom, hence venerated. Parents and teachers are second only to the three jewels, the motor yacht, Yardanathun Bar, together making up the 5 boundless beneficence, the motor yacht, Ananda Gabar, and a paid obeisance, called Gador, at special times of the year such as Thingyan, beginning and end of Buddhist Lent, and usually parents before one leaves on a journey. Elders are served first at meals, and in their absence a spoonful of rice is put aside first in the pot as a token of respect, the motor yacht, Yucha, before serving the meal. Young people would avoid sitting on a higher level than the elders or passing in front of them unless unavoidable, and then only treading softly with a slight bow. Things would be passed to the elders using both hands together. Men may cross their legs sitting on a chair or a mat, but women generally would not. Children are taught from young to venerate one's elders, to respect one's peers, and to be kind to the young and weak. The motor yacht, Kai Thugo Yothe, Wedugo Laser, Jethugo Thena. Parents are believed to be solely responsible for their children's behavior as reflected by the expressions Mimaisinma, Apamaisinma, the motor yacht, undisciplined either by mother or by father, and Army Yukto Nukian, Apa Yuktoko Amuayakayan. Bad language from bad mother, bad body language from bad father. Saying thank you, however, is not Burmese custom between friends and within the family. It is considered rude to touch a person's head because it is the highest point of the body. It is also considered taboo to touch another's feet, but worse still to point with the foot or sit with feet pointing at someone older, because the feet are considered the lowest. Also, pointing a finger at Buddha images is considered blasphemous, although this custom has slowly eroded. Shoes are always taken off upon entering homes, monasteries and pagoda compounds. A custom of the Burmese is to perambulate clockwise, the motor yacht, let yayit, around a pagoda, not counterclockwise, the motor yacht, let we yit. Physical demonstrations of affection in public are common between friends of the same gender or between members of the family, but seldom seen between lovers. It is thus common to see friends walking together holding hands or with arms round each other, but couples rarely do so, except in major cities. Part 3. Cuisine. Burmese cuisine has been influenced by Indian, Chinese and Thai cuisines as well as domestic ethnic cuisines. It is not widely known throughout the world and can be characterized as having a mildly spicy taste, with a limited use of spices. A typical Burmese meal consists of several meat curries, a soup, steamed rice and fermented sauce of preserved fish, along with vegetables for dipping. Condiments like balaun, Indian-style pickles and pickled vegetables are commonly served alongside the dishes. Although fish sauce and shrimp paste are commonly used ingredients, as in other Southeast Asian cuisines, Burmese cuisine also makes extensive use of chickpeas, lentils and tamarind, which is used to add a sour flavor rather than the lime juice or vinegar used in other cuisines. Ethnic cuisines, in particular Shan cuisine, are also prominently found throughout Burma, as are Indian and Chinese dishes, particularly in urban areas. The de facto national dish is mohinga, the motor yacht, rice noodles in a rich fish soup, salads, the motor yacht, especially Lafat Thok, which is a salad of pickled tea leaves, are also popular dishes. The Burmese traditionally eat with their fingers, although the usage of Western utensils and chopsticks have become more widespread, especially in towns and cities. Indian breads like paratha and nano rice noodles are also commonly eaten with dishes, in addition to rice. Part 4. Weddings. Traditional Burmese folklore considers love to be destiny, as the Hindu god Brahma writes one's destiny in love on a child's brow when he or she is 6 days old, called Napusa, the motor yacht, lit. Destiny on the forehead. A Burmese wedding can be religious or secular and extravagant or simple. Traditionally, A marriage is recognized with or without a ceremony when the man's longi, sarong, is seen hanging from a rail of the house or if the couple eats from the same plate. Dowries are typically unheard of, and arranged marriage is not a custom of the Burmese. Weddings are traditionally avoided during the Buddhist Lent, which lasts 3 months from July to October. Generally speaking, Buddhist monks are not present to conduct the wedding and solemnize the marriage, as they are forbidden to officiate a marriage, which is considered a worldly affair. Lokia. However, they may be invited to bless the newlywed couple and recite a protective parita. Typically, the bride and groom arrange an alms-giving feast to monks the morning of the wedding to gain merit. A more extravagant wedding requires months of preparation, including consultation with an astrologer in choosing the most auspicious time and setting of the event. Also, a master of ceremonies, typically a Brahmin, is hired to preside over the ceremony. The bride and groom sit on cushions next to each other. At the beginning of the wedding, the Brahmin blows a conch shell to commence the ceremony and joins the palms of the couple, wraps them in white cloth, and dips the joined palms in a silver bowl. The Burmese word to marry is letat. The motor yacht, which literally means to join palms together. After chanting a few Sanskrit mantras, the Brahmin takes the couple's joined palms out of the bowl and blows the conch shell to end the ceremony. Afterward, entertainers perform, and the wedding is ended with a speech by a guest of higher social standing. Wedding receptions at a hotel, serving tea and ice cream, are common in urban areas. Part 5. Funerals. Burmese funerals typically last a week, with the body traditionally buried or cremated on the 3rd day. Burial is common, but cremation, more common in the cities, is also practiced by Orthodox Buddhists and monks in Burma. A coin, called kudoga, the motor yacht, is placed in the mouth of the deceased person to pay a ferry toll for crossing death. Before the actual interment of the body, an offering of turmeric-coated rice is given to appease the buamazo, the motor yacht, the guardian deity of the earth. During the actual funeral, gifts in the form of paper fans containing the deceased person's name, as well as Buddhist scriptures relating to the impermanence of life, anicca, and samsara, are distributed to all attendees. In urban areas, flower wreaths and florals are typically given at a funeral, as well as money, for less well-to-do families. However, in villages, more practical gifts such as food items are given to the grieving family. For 7 days, the windows and doors of the house in which the person died may be left open, to let the deceased person's consciousness or spirit, called laipu, the motor yacht, lit butterfly, leave the home, and a vigil may be kept at night time. On the 7th day, called yetla, the motor yacht, a meal is offered to monks, who in turn recite blessings, protective paritas and transfer merit to the deceased, concluded with a Buddhist water libation ceremony. Part 6. Religion. Burma is a predominantly Theravada Buddhist country. Buddhism reached Burma around the beginning of the Christian era, mingling with Hinduism, also imported from India, and indigenous animism. The Pu and Mon kingdoms of the first millennium were Buddhist, but the early Bama peoples were animists. According to traditional history, King Anawrahta of Bagan adopted Buddhism in 1056 and went to war with the Mon kingdom of Thaton in the south of the country to obtain the Buddhist canon and learned monks. The religious tradition created at this time, and which continues to the present day, is a syncretalist mix of what might be termed pure Buddhism of the Theravada school, with deep-rooted elements of the original animism or nat worship and even strands of Hinduism and the Mahayana tradition of northern India. Islam reached Burma at approximately the same time, but never gained a foothold outside the geographically isolated seaboard running from modern-day Bangladesh southward to Irrawaddy Delta. Modern Rakhine State, formerly Arakan, an independent kingdom until the 18th century. The colonial period saw a huge influx of Muslim and Hindu Indians into Yangon and other cities, and the majority of Yangon's many mosques and temples owe their origins to these immigrants. Christianity was brought to Burma by European missionaries in the 1800s. It made little headway among Buddhists, but has been widely adopted by non-Buddhists such as the Chin, Karen, and Kachin. The Roman Catholic Church, Myanmar Baptist Convention and the Assemblies of God of Burma are the largest Christian denominations in Burma. Burma is home to the second largest population of Baptists in the world, after the United States, the result of American missionary work. The Chinese contribution to Burma's religious mix has been slight, but several traditional Chinese temples were established in Yangon and other large cities in the 19th century when large-scale Chinese migration was encouraged by the British. Since approximately 1990 this migration has resumed in huge numbers, but the modern Chinese immigrants seem to have little interest in religion. Some more isolated indigenous peoples in the more inaccessible parts of the country still follow traditional animism. Burma has nominal guarantees of freedom of religious expression, although religious minorities, Christians and Muslims, particularly those in the countryside, are subject to discrimination. Sporadic riots between Burmese Buddhists and Burmese Muslims are not uncommon, and tensions between the two religious groups are high, particularly in major cities. In 2001, after the Taliban's destruction of the Pagodas of Baman, religiously motivated riots broke out between Buddhists and Muslims across major cities in Burma, including Situ, Phaya, Taungoo and Bago. The current regime's nationalistic policy of Burma Sanghain, which considers Buddhism a key element of Burmese-ness, does provide a systemic bias in favor of Buddhists in terms of preferment in the armed forces and other state structures. Part 6. Religion. Chapter 1. Pagodas and Monasteries. Aspects of Burmese culture are most apparent in religious sites. The country has been called the Land of Pagodas as the landscape is dominated by Buddhist pagodas or stupas. The four most important Burmese Buddhist pilgrimage sites are Shwedagon Pagoda in Yangon, Mahamuni Buddha in Mandalay, Kaiktiyo Pagoda in Mon State, and Bagan, an ancient capital by the Anawrahta River where thousands of stupas and temples have stood for nearly a millennium in various states of repair. Pagodas are known by their Pali terms, Zedi, the motor yacht, or the Pato, the motor yacht, but are also commonly called spire, the motor yacht, which is synonymous with Buddha. Monasteries are known as Apong Ikai on the motor yacht, Apong meaning monk, and since they have traditionally been places of learning where village children are taught how to read and write, including and more importantly Pali, the language of the Buddhist scriptures, school also came to be called Kai on the motor yacht in the Burmese language. Part 7. Traditional festivals. There are 12 months in the traditional Burmese calendar and 12 corresponding festivals. Most of the festivals are related to Burmese Buddhism, and in any town or village the local Payapu, the Pagoda Festival, is the most important one. The most well-known festival is Thingyan, a 4-day celebration of the coming Lunar New Year. This festival is held prior to the Burmese New Year, the first day of Tagu, which falls in mid-April. It is related and similar to other Southeast Asian New Year festivals. Songkran, Cambodian New Year, Sinhalese New Year and Lao New Year. People splash water on one another. However, Thingyan has religious significance. marking the days in which Buddhists are expected to observe the 8 precepts of Buddhism. Part 8. Sports. Part 8. Sports. Chapter 1. Football. Football is the most popular sport in Myanmar. Similar to football, Chinloni is an indigenous sport that utilizes a rattan ball and is played using mainly the feet and the knees, but the head and also the arms may be used except the hands. Part 8. Sports. Chapter 2. Lethwei. Lethwei, also called Burmese traditional boxing or Burmese bare-knuckle boxing, is the most popular combat sport in Myanmar. It is a Burmese full-contact martial art derived from the Shan called Thin, divided into Bando, unarmed combat, and Banshe, armed combat. Part 8. Sports. Chapter 3. Regatta. Of the 12 seasonal festivals, regattas are held in the month of Torthalin, August/September. The term typically describes racing events of rowed or sailed watercraft. Part 8. Sports. Chapter 4. Equestrian. Equestrian events were held by the Royal Army in the time of the Burmese kings in the month of Pyatho, December/January. Part 8. Sports. Chapter 5. Cricket. During British rule, the game of cricket was played by the ruling British, with the Burma national cricket team playing a number of first-class matches. The team exists today, although no longer of first-class quality, and is an affiliate member of the International Cricket Council. Part 8. Sports. Chapter 6. Basketball. Burma also has a basketball team, which qualified for the Asian Games in the past. Part 9. National holidays. Element or table removed. Unsuitable for speech. This recording is a derivative work from Wikipedia. For more information, please visit www.frogcast.org.